This one goes out to the Artcasters. Ooh, Artcasters! I say you're catching your spell, Artcasters. Catching your spell. Ooh, you're gonna cast that spell. Strike a hell. Whoa! Ooh. Hi, 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 hi.
All right, the Artcasters coming at you one more time with the rock and roll intro. And on that note, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. We're gonna roll into this though, like we usually do. We'll go around the virtual room and introduce ourselves, talk about anything we got going on, promote whatever wares we got. Our guest, you might be familiar with her because she's been on the show a number of times. But if you aren't, then you will get familiar with her when we get to her in just a moment. But first, let me talk about what I got going on. If you go to my website at circworks.com, that's where you can get to all my other stuff. It's kind of like the hub. So if you go there, you can get to my website. Well, I mean, if you're on the website, if you go to the website, you can get to the YouTube channel, you can get to the Patreon, all that kind of stuff. Basically everything I'm doing. Plus my online stores up there where you can get the collected version of Young and the Dead, Kids vs. Zombie Adventure Story. Just think Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. Josh, what about you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading a book. Yeah, by the way, you guys should pick this up. It's amazing. You should check out two stories if you're interested in autobio comics that talk heavily about faith and mental illness and kind of try to destigmatize hard conversations about said things. And then also check out Jacob's Apartment, which is a story about two young adults who are kind of wrestling and grappling with the beliefs that they were raised with and kind of coming to terms with those as like in older age when faced with things like death of a family member and stuff like that. So heavy, depressing books. Doomed Romance, Jacob's Apartment, you should check it out. And then also make sure if you're into rock and roll, definitely check out No Saboteurs and the latest album, The Sun Eventually Sets on Everything. And also check out my solo stuff here. So, on streaming platforms everywhere for music. Yeah.
All right, Laurie, we know you have something to promote. What's going on in your world?
No, of course not. Of course I do. Hi, everybody. I'm Laurie. I was waiting for it. I was like, should I bring my own stuff? I'm Laurie Calacaterra, writer, creator of Path of the Pale Rider, your favorite Western apocalypse series where death is broken. We are one part Book of Eli Fallout with some Walking Dead spaghetti Western and a little sprinkle of Cocaine Bear on top. We're having a fun time. We're currently live on Kickstarter right now for issue 7, which is
and there's a link, just so everyone knows, there's a link in the description of the video. You can click on that link. It'll take you right to the Kickstarter.
Which is absolutely bonkers. I have the most bonkers campaigns you will see out there. Handmade merch, hot sauce, secret rewards, hidden videos in the welcome video. I do a bunch of crazy stuff. Hey, Paul Pate, what's up, man? You're up late.
Ooh, yeah, Paul. and when you back a Laurie Calacaterra Kickstarter, there's just tons of really cool stuff. Like I went to pull out my book, and then I remember this. This thing is like this thick print. I mean, it's cool. And then, there's like little 3D printed, like, I don't know, what do you call the things that everyone wears to let people know?
Yeah, the little disc.
Yeah. I think there was like a printed one of those, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. There was origami sculptures in it. So you never know what you're going to get. And she's got all kinds of cool stuff on there, hot sauces, and just, we were talking a little bit before the show, and I'm like, I kind of stay away from that stuff because if it's not something flat that I can put in a comic envelope, I usually steer away from it. But with her, man, you're going to get all kinds of crazy stuff that you can back or whatever. So she goes all out.
So I will do an additional question on my survey for everybody. So what Scott's talking about is I had a question on the survey that was Beats, Bears, or Battlestar Galactica. It was just silly. And however you answered, you got an origami thing. So if you answered bears, you got an origami bear. If you answered beets, you got an origami beet. And Battlestar Galactica, you got a little origami robot that I made you.
I'm guessing that's probably what I have.
The robot?
I
Little,
think
like,
so.
it's weird. It's with pointy hands. I was like, I don't
Yeah,
know, it looks
yeah.
like a Battlestar Galactica. What do they call them? I forget. One of the drones.
Oh, Cylons.
Cylon, thank you. I
Yeah,
was like, that's
yeah.
the thing. So we do fun, silly stuff. We smash pumpkins, and I dress up as Pikachu for that, and go wander around the campaign and click around, and you'll see like the level of my dark humor and depravity. It's great.
So I mean, like I said, we've had you on the show a few times, and in the past we've talked about. I mean, we're always going to talk, and we'll talk about it again. We'll talk about
Yeah.
the product, but we've talked about just what an amazing promoter you are, and you've kind of helped me out with when I was running my Kickstarter. I reached out to you and asked if you had some places I could go. So I reached out to some of the podcasts and stuff. So thank you for that. But today I thought we kind of dive into a little bit about. Just dystopian fiction, because I guess both of us kind of, mine's like the beginning, I guess, of a dystopia. It doesn't really become that, but it could, but so I think that's something we have in common. But I think I could probably speak for all of us that we probably love that genre. So I don't know, Laurie, what do you think makes good dystopian fiction?
That was one of the questions that I wanted to ask you. So I love
Yeah.
dystopian and apocalypse.
Yeah.
And I think what it is about it is it puts people in this pressure cooker. It forces them to make hard decisions that they wouldn't have to make any other time in their life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if there's no food, what are you eating? Like if there's a zombie apocalypse, how are you reacting? If it's robots, if it's a virus. And that's what I love so much about dystopian genre is there's a ton and it's all varied. And so that was part of it I wanted to discuss, where it's just like there's so many different ways you can go. But ultimately, I think it's a great way to show off how your character thinks and forcing them into tough situations to make them do things that maybe they wouldn't do in their normal life. And it's entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't want to see a horde of zombies running down kids? I do.
I think, for me, I think what the appeal there, or the scary thing about, and we all like to be scared. I mean,
I do too.
some of us, but I definitely do. But I think the thing that makes a good dystopian story is just, I mean, living in the world when we live in, we're surrounded by creature comforts and phones and just life,
DoorDash.
And we're so addicted to all that. We're so used to all that if it was all taken away, I mean, that's got to be one of the most scariest things in the world,
Gosh.
And sure, there are people that kind of prep for that stuff, and sometimes we'll make fun of those people, but those are the first people that ever going to. I mean, they'll be kind of set. So it's like I'm not. I just
And that's the other thing. Do you ever, like, one of the things that I like to imagine, if I'm in that situation, what would I do? Like, would I survive? What's the hard choices that I would make if I was walking that same path?
Yeah.
So it's like, would I survive?
Yeah.
Depends on the dystopia.
Yeah, I'd have to be totally honest. I probably would not survive.
No, I might survive. I would survive probably a zombie
I tried my
apocalypse.
darndest, but I maybe. I mean, I was in Boy Scouts. I recall some of that stuff.
Yeah, I always wonder that too, because like I did Boy Scouts when I was a kid, but it's like I am also like one of those guys who like I don't even look to hike. Like I'm not at all interested. I watched a little bit of Untamed on Netflix recently, and it's such a good show, but it's horrific to me because it's just like it's the idea of just being like out and like like Yosemite Valley just on your own, like same kind of thing where it's like there's no like creature comforts around and stuff, and that is a really interesting thing because it's like what are the ways you'd survive? Would you be the dad in the road who like despite all of it like persists on for the kid, or like would you be like offing yourself within like a week. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you starving? Are you stealing? Are you the aggressor? Are you the
Yeah.
victim? I mean, like, there's
Are you
so
the
many
politician?
things,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Are you in the bunker? Or are you on the spaceship leaving Earth? Like, that's what I love about dystopian genre, because it's like it could be anything. Like Snowpiercer was great. It's like you're on a train and the whole
That is
road's
a good one.
frozen.
See,
What's that?
that's the dystopian I'd hate the most, because I do not like the cold. I get super. I mean, I've lived in Arizona all my life, and I do not do well with cold at all. I know I just like I'd
Yeah.
freeze it, like it was just.
I think
be
for
melt
like
up.
desert rats like us, it'd be pretty hard. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like being cold either, to be honest with you. So, no thanks.
You got a little bit of that like Michigan in you though, like where you could probably hang a lot better than
I was like the worst in Michigan. People are like, "Let's go skiing," and I was like, "No, let's not. Let's not. I hate being cold." And like, I'd be that person wearing a sweatshirt, and my mom's like, "It is 60," and I'm like, "I don't care. I'm cold. Like, I'm wearing a sweatshirt." So I was terrible Michigander.
Yeah.
I'm much more comfortable in Texas. People are like, "It's 90. Aren't you hot?" I'm like, "I'm great. Thank you very much." So I think I was built for down here as opposed to.
I understand.
I don't like Michigan when they have like so many different names for snow. There's like snow and sleet and dirty snow and slush and frozen and this and that. And like, I'm in the wrong place. I don't want to live where they have 17 names for snow.
It's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I to me, like one of the fun parts about living in California is if it rains, everybody drives like a lunatic because they're just like, "What is this madness?" I mean, it's Southern California.
Like, but it never rains. And so
Yeah.
like, I lived in California for a very short time. I was there for 3 years with my husband.
Yeah.
I said time really weird just then. A very short time. And when it rained, like all the oil on the road went to the surface, and we was
Yeah.
like, "Woo!" The fishtailing everywhere. So I get it. Like, there's a reason why people drive like idiots, is because the road is slick. But
I'll kind of allow
God.
that, but as a Californian, I'll just say we're really
really
good
bad.
drivers, but when weather comes up, we're terrible.
I remember, and I was in like Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach.
Oh, I
area.
taught there. Okay, cool. I used to teach at LCAD a long time.
Yeah. And my parents from Michigan came to visit in January, thinking that it was going to be warm. And it was like the first time in 10 years that it had snowed. But it was like
Oh no.
snow. Like, it just came like one snowflake and they shut the freeway. And I was like, what?
That's always weird too when there's weird weather in Laguna, because like that's where like the mansions just start sliding down the hills. Like I swear, like every year it's like they build these houses on like stilts with these beautiful views, but they just like slide down the hill every year. Yeah.
Don't do it.
So
Come back.
so Laurie, you're in Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm north
Yeah.
of Dallas. So
Okay. So what's your strategy for an apocalypse? Do you just hold up in a Buc-ee's, or?
Buc-ee's would be a smart place.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on my network. I actually had a better survival network in Michigan because I was actively training martial arts. And so
Right.
like I was training when Y2K happened, and we
Yeah.
had a plan. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to go take over a Walmart or a Costco,
Right.
right? We're going to be in charge there if it like actually goes down. I don't have too many martial art friends down here. It's just not something that I carried with me. So it's like, I don't have a team.
Right.
So
You're like
I
the
don't know.
person everyone would want on the team, though. Like, if I were in Texas and the apocalypse happened, I'd be like, I want to be near the martial arts expert when this goes down.
Yeah, but it's also
Yeah.
Texas and everybody has a gun. So
That's true. That's true.
Martial arts doesn't work great against the shotgun.
You can't catch bullets.
I have to wonder. I guess I'd have to wonder how much value like sketches and art have to do in an apocalypse. Could I trade those for stuff? So what value would I actually have? I don't know.
No, but I mean,
Can
like,
I trade
you
this
need
this
some
caracature
kind
of
of
you
skill.
for a shotgun?
Like I can draw a better reality for you guys to escape
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there's still like something to be said about historians, someone that can carry on like history and record things as you go forward. Like, those people are still important. That's where I think you guys would come in, where you're able to document things in picture or in words. Because if the grid goes down and we have no electricity, we still need someone to
That's
record
true.
history. Otherwise, you just
Thank
have
you.
this
I'm
big
going to
black
use
space.
that to
Yeah.
justify my place on the lifeboat.
There
You
we
know,
go.
Because we're like, why are we feeding you? There's no food. You are about to become
history.
food.
History must live on. That's
Right,
why.
right. Oh, Josh Burger sounds great right now.
The problem is when like the big survivalist actually knows more history than you and is better
Yeah,
at
that's the
writing.
problem.
You're like crap. I'm kind of out of luck now.
I'm this bear historian. Should Tex over here get ill, I will still be around.
So I love that. Like, Scott, if you have an order or something,
No,
skipping ahead. Let me
no,
know.
this is how we do it. We just kind of free form,
Yeah.
talk
So
shop.
So I was kind of wondering, like, on that note, like, how do you kind of decide which characters to kind of throw into the doomsday scenario? And are you intentionally picking people where you're like, okay, I want to pick this kind of, like, maybe you're walking around the city and you're like, that person would never survive, and you're like, you want to throw them in there? Or, like, what kind of pre-thinking are you thinking about, like, the personality types that you throw into that world of the dystopian world,
I want to answer that after Laurie. So go
No,
ahead,
I want
Laurie.
you to answer first. I want to hear your answer.
Oh, all right. I'll give you some
You
time
go
to think.
first.
So one of the things I did was I have a character called Lloyd, and he's kind of a Dungeons and Dragons type guy. He's into speaking of, he's got an Aussie T-shirt. Speaking of Aussie, so
Aw.
but yeah, he's big into he's just into metal and Dio and just all that stuff. But he's not a popular kid. He's kind of he's probably picked on and stuff. But the thing is, he knows about swords and he makes swords and he knows about zombie movies. He knows how all that stuff functions. So he's got this library in his head. So when the zombie apocalypse actually happens, he kind of steps up because he knows, because in some ways it's different than what he sees on TV, but there's some similarities. So he can come up with plans, and plus he's used to coming up with all these campaigns and stuff. So his, what used to be sort of, as the larger society, meaning the school or whoever he, his social, outside of his social group would probably look at as sort of a negative, became a positive. So he kind of steps up. Whereas, there's another kid, Rocky, who's kind of a jock, and he's just sort of out of place because, just like I was saying, that fear, everything that he knew, his whole world, his whole status, everything's kind of gone, and he doesn't know what he's doing, So that's kind of how I like to play with like characters that I pick when I put them into like a scenario like that. What about you, Laurie?
I like to write the people that have no business surviving the apocalypse, but somehow they're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what random skill can they have that keeps them alive? So I have this character named Dwayne Fink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you read my story, you know that this guy is just loony. He is the town drunk in the town of Santa Claus, and our protagonist, Jude St. Clair, has been looking for this guy because apparently he knows something about how all of this started. But it's like, you don't know if you can believe this guy, because they literally feed him drinks in the evening in Santa Claus until he's soused and stands on the table, and just, this is their entertainment, is to get Dwayne drunk. So you never know what he's going to say and if it has any bit of truth, or he's, you know what I mean? So it's like, the more you read the story, you find out that there's more to him. But it's like, how has this guy survived 10 years into the apocalypse? And those people are super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because we've all kind of seen the Rick Grimes and the survivors and do what's necessary to protect the people. But I'm interested in the Dwayne Finks. Like, what has this guy done? Because there's this guy has no skills. Yeah, Jude is the dude.
I love that, though. I do kind of sometimes think, sometimes like the preppers might be the first to go just because of their paranoia. I feel like sometimes people like give too much credit to the preppers, and it's like, I don't know, like they might have too much confidence. Maybe there's somebody like trained way too often with a gun, so they just go out guns blazing, like woohoo, and then like, get killed immediately.
Well, not everybody has common sense. We'll just put that out there. You may have prepped and have no common sense and be cleaning your gun and take yourself out. Be a great stockpile to come upon. Ooh, look at this.
That's great though. I love that idea of kind of picking irregular characters.
Yeah.
Where it's going to also make the reader kind of go, how the heck did this person last?
Exactly. And it's like, I need to know more about this random character so I can understand like how he got here and like how does he know the things that he knows, right?
Yeah.
So those are the characters I love to write in the apocalypse, where it's just like, you have no business being here. Scott, I had such a funny idea about a zombie apocalypse where it's like, it starts almost like a video game where it's like, like Last of Us. Is it Last of Us? No. Left 4 Dead, where there's 4 characters and you kind of like pick from the 4 characters.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen Last of Us. I haven't played the game. I don't really play video games, so you'll have to kind of
video game. There's 4 characters. You can play as all 4 and they all have different skill set, whatever. But what if it was like, you got like the beefy muscular guy and then it was like 3 grandmas. And you're like, one's on a walker, one's in a wheelchair, and one's in a cane. Like, these are your teammates in the zombie apocalypse.
That would be funny.
It would be hilarious. But it's like, again, it's like all of a sudden this cane could be useful or this walker has a purpose because there's a horn on it.
Don't mess with elderly in the elderly home, man. Those walkers could be like dangerous. You know what I'm saying? They take the tennis balls off and it's like game on.
Heck yeah, man. You got a projectile, you got a barricade. Like, I just think it would be super funny to write these grandmas and it's like because they're elderly and they have like weird knowledge about what, knitting needles and crap like that will help them get through the apocalypse. But I just imagine this one dude like carrying all the grandmas, like trying to run away from this horde of zombies. It would be funny. I don't know.
That's
Maybe
amazing.
We'll write that someday.
I mean, there's so many different ways you can go. And that's why, I kind of love what you've done with the genre. So for anyone that might be unfamiliar, why don't you kind of fill people in on what's sort of different about your zombies? Because I did the same with mine where, I wanted certain things to be, to be like the tropes, but I wanted to flip those around and do some unique things. But your take is definitely a unique take. And I don't know, even do you, I mean, I hear you refer to them as zombies, but I mean, for somebody that might not be into zombies, how do you change that conversation to kind of get them on your side? Because you could call your characters zombies, but you could call them something totally different as well.
Right. I actually think of them as living impaired.
Right. Okay.
Zombie is like, it just kind of helps people understand that, like there is a problem. We have a large population of dead and rotting people, but they're not trying to eat you. So in this world, death is broken, you guys. So what that means is your body can die, but your soul doesn't leave your body. So in most of like Romero rules, you die and then you come back and you're this emotionless eating menace, right? You're trying to bite people, you're trying to eat them. There's like 28 days later. There's fast moving zombies, there's infection zombies, there's slow moving zombies, there's different zombies. In this world, though, you could die and just wake up and go to work the next day. You're still you in your body for a short time because your brain is rotting. So you still get the gross body horror aspect where you can be maimed and it's gory, but your brain is rotting. And so you lose your memories. You can become chaotic. You could become violent. You could become vegetative. It hits everybody differently. So this is more like dementia in fast forward with body horror. And it becomes it's a powder keg because you have this population of people, but it's also animals and insects and fish. It's everything because death is just gone.
Right. And while people won't eat you because people typically don't unless you're
Right.
you
Big
know,
James will
serial
just F
killer or
you
something.
up.
But there are animals out there that could.
Yeah. And like pesticides don't work on the
Right.
insects. And so they're still eating crops because they're too stupid to know I don't have to eat anymore because I'm dead. And so it just creates huge problems. I don't want to eat a hamburger that still moves personally
Right.
because if the meat's doing this and it's going to do that the whole way through me, I'm going to pass. Right. Unless, I mean, I don't know. Would you do it if you're starving? That's a great question. But like, what do you do with the people? Because there's overpopulation now. People are around, even though they're decaying. How long can you own property for? Are you still married? Death do us part until till death
Right.
do us part. What happens? Can people vote? Can people drive? Can people own firearms? You know what I mean? So it's just it opens all these doors to these um, human questions and like
Yeah.
existentialism. What is it that makes us human? Is it okay to, how are we treating this population? So what you're going to see in the book is a lot of gray area. I don't answer the question about how you should feel about this. You got to make up your own mind because everybody would approach it differently depending on their experience. If
Right.
your neighbor is undead and they run over your dog because they're just chaotic, you know what I mean? You're obviously going to have feelings about whether the undead should
Yeah.
be in your neighborhood and next door because instead of your dog, what if that was your kid?
Right.
Um, you know, or what if it is your kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Your kid that has no memory, your kid that becomes violent, your kid that sundowns every night and can't remember. And sometimes they can and sometimes they can't. So it's just a crazy world. Things evolve super fast because it goes back to the Wild West. And that's why I say we're a Western apocalypse series is because, if no electricity and no water and you're on a horse trying to figure it out, it's very much like a Western. And if you think about it, Westerns are kind of the gateway into dystopian future. It's like it's usually lawless and bandits and,
Right.
limited supplies. You think your neighbors are undead. Paul. I wonder. But yeah, so it's again, we're following Jude St. Clair, who is this cowboy on a mission. He is trying to figure it out. He has hopes to put the world back to the way it was, but we'll see if he can do it. I have said before that he will figure it out in the first arc. And we are at that point in the story where things really start to go fast. Because I wrote this as a full-length movie. We're through the first act, which is world building, learning your protagonist, understanding the rules, everything. We're past that, right? We're into the part where everything goes wrong. And then Jude has to make decisions, and then he will figure out what broke Death. So we're almost there. But issue 7. Have I talked about issue 7 with you guys?
No, go ahead.
Really?
No, yeah, no, yeah. Let us know what we're in store for.
Issue 7 is my favorite of the first arc. It is the big moment in the story where it kind of pulls back the veil and you get to see you've seen like some crazy things. We've had riots. We've seen how terrible life can be. But issue 7 is devastating. It will make you think twice about what you've seen in the world and what's coming. Jude St. Clair is in for a hell of a ride in this issue. So this is one that you have to read, you guys. It's a do not miss it. People will be talking about this, and you don't want this spoiled for you. I guarantee it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going downhill to the answer. So if you pay attention in issue 8, you might figure it out. If you pay attention in 9, you most likely will figure it out. If you haven't figured it out by 9, when we start 10, I slap you in the face with the answer. This is what
How many issues are you planning on doing?
It's 36 total.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
So it's like I wrote it as a full-length movie. I broke it up into 12 issues for a movie. So it'll be like Act 1 is 4, Act 2 is 4, Act 3 is 4.
Right. Okay.
And then there's 3 movies. So the first 2 are done. I'm working on the third one. I know there is an ending. I've already written the ending. We just have to get to it in that third one. But we're in for a wild ride. And
Right.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah. So as far as the world you've built and everything, and there's so many different aspects of it. And like when you were explaining it, you brought up all these different scenarios and things like that. I had some people who had read Young and Dead, and they were commenting in one of our chats about they had some questions about certain things that I purposely kind of left, unanswered. I in my mind I had an idea how it all played out, but I didn't really go into detail. So I was like, oh, this is what I was thinking, but I kind of leave that up to interpretation. But with yours in particular, it's so, there's got to be so many questions people ask. And do you get questions from people that are like, oh, I never thought about that? And does that, because you have the whole thing written out, does that change? Have you ever had anything that comes up like that and go, oh, I know I've got it written out, but maybe I need to address this because that's really interesting? Anything like that?
I've gone really deep into the world.
Okay.
So I've never really encountered a question that I didn't have an answer to.
That's pretty impressive.
However, that doesn't mean that we will always get to it in the story, because it's hard when you're telling the story from a character's point of view. Jude St. Clair is on a specific journey, but that's why I do the other medium, right? And so there are riddles on the back covers that will take you to places. There are found videos on YouTube. There are hidden websites. There are phone numbers that you can call, that you actually can touch the world of Path of the Pale Rider. We do that, and we also do short films. I'm way overdue for a short film. I apologize, but I just haven't had the time. But we explore some of these other things that, we can't spend all the extra pages in the book to explain, like what happens to a family member where they're undead and you're hiding them in your house. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, because with like, say, just to use Young and the Dead, it basically, this whole story takes place in the span of a day, and it's a very small group of kids. But there's got to be, in that neighborhood or that area where that outbreak took place, there's got to be other stories. So but that's kind of what I mentioned in the chat, was that it's open to submit your own fan fiction, because there's so many other things that could happen. I think that when you have a world like what you've created, I think whether you touch on it or not throughout the course of your story, there's other questions and other ideas and things that people are going to have that that they're more than welcome to kind of explore on in their own mind. And I think that's what makes a really cool world to live in.
Yes. That's what I love about Path, and about like other universes and other worlds that are so well built, is because you can really dig deep into it and be like, I'm going to use my world as an example, but like, yes, that's exactly what this is, where it's like, yes, we are doing that too, Paul, 100%. But like, what happens if there's no death and you're a pile of bones? What happens if you're burnt to ashes? Are you still here?
Yeah.
What does that do? And so there's a lot of things that people come to me, like some of them are ridiculous. Like, what if I swallowed a tree? And I was like, why would you do that? Like, like, would the tree grow from inside me? And I was like, well, no. You're going to digest it, right? And he's like, yeah, but it won't die. And I was like, yes, but it'll be rotting. Tree, I don't know. Plants don't really fall into the category of my world. It's like, it's undead already, right? And it's just standing there. It's a tree. But yeah, there's 5,000 questions. Is it okay to have schmecks with your undead spouse?
I've never heard that term, but now I guess I know what you mean now.
Yeah. And you have, lovey time with your spouse when they're undead. For how long is that okay?
Yeah,
that is a creepy one.
And then in this world, how long does that remain taboo? Because things are changing.
Right.
So It's interesting, and then it's like there's cults, there's conspiracy theories, there's what the government is doing, there's the whole undead has its own underground that I've built with its history and hierarchy, and like I've gone so far and deep
Sarah's
into
got
the
a good
world.
question
So,
here.
can the undead consent? Maybe they can, and maybe they can't. Sarah, hi,
And
Sarah. How
and
are
if
you?
they consent, is their consent valid according
Right.
to the powers that be? I
Do
guess.
do we have a whole new class of person that can be exploited? Can we exploit them for labor? You know what I mean? There's
Right.
just so many ethical questions that are created in this world. And I try to touch on a lot of them. I will answer a lot of things. Like what happens when you're so rotted that you shouldn't be able to function? What happens? We will touch on that. You know what I mean? We touch on the food source. We touch on a lot of things. So you'll see it all happen and play out throughout the course of the whole story. But
Yeah. So
yay.
so with dystopian fiction, I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty by its nature, it's pretty dreary, it's pretty bleak. But
Mm,
how important is to have some hope or some ray of sunlight, and how often do you kind of let that in, to
yeah.
keep
I think
otherwise, because after a while, I mean, Walking the Dead, I watched it for a while, and after a while, I'm just like, it's just going to keep going with, and
mm,
there's very little, it's very little hope there. So it's like at certain
yeah.
point, I kind of lost interest in it. So I think there's kind of a back and forth, or like how much of that do you let in without, like with my story, there's always this underlying current that there's a possible cure out there. There's some way that
Yes.
they might be able to kind of reverse this, and at best case scenario, save the people that have already been affected. But,
I'm with you on that. I think that um, that's at the core of these dystopian books and movies is the human drive for hope and determination and love in that scenario. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what sets us apart as humans from everything else. And so, things can look really bleak, and yet your protagonist still has that ray of hope. Um, and I think that's what makes things addictive. Like, I want to see if Jude St. Clair can figure it out, right? I want to see your character succeed. It's hard to watch really dark. One that I found really hard to watch was The Road.
Yeah,
oh,
well, that's Cormac
oh yeah,
McCarthy, and like
yeah,
that book is, it's
It's so
brilliant,
it's
depressing.
great, but yeah,
Um,
it's
Great.
bleak.
but all his books kind of
Wow.
tend to have like a lack of like it's like there's a hope that the character kind of clings to, but they're like barely you
It's
know
hanging on,
in
man.
there because there really is no hope. Like that's the kind of interesting thing about his books is that he pretty much paints it like, yeah, basically all these characters are screwed. How long can they retain hope? It's really interesting,
Mm.
but very like, yeah, I can't read like Blood Meridian or like yeah, I can't read either of those books like without like, yeah,
Can't
you
take a
just have to
break.
have like a year to recover from
Yeah,
them.
you can't
Like,
I
take a
think
break
yeah.
from that. Where
I
it's just,
think if The Road
you know,
was an ongoing series like Walking Dead, it's just like I couldn't. But because
yeah,
it's a movie, it's the same thing with
right.
like The
Yeah,
Mist. The
you're
Mist
right.
is
Like
very
multiple
The mist.
seasons of that would
Oh, the
just be
end of the
too much.
mist.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
that'll F you up, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Um,
And but it's good. I like
wow,
it, but it's like yeah, it's dire.
depressing.
It's
But
yeah,
yeah, like
Yeah.
Walking Dead, I think was its own
yeah,
thing. Like I think the writing went to crap. And I think that it went on way longer than it needed to. They started breaking from the source material, and that's part of the problem. They took 12 episodes to tell us stuff when they could have probably done it in 6, you know?
Yeah. And
yeah.
the character development became less
Hmm.
um, like I think it was at its best when you had these really deep character moments, you know?
The
And I feel
best
like they kind of
season.
lost that quite a bit later on, where
Yeah.
they just started throwing in new characters
Killing
and
them off before we cared. No one cares. If,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, look, they're dead.
yeah. Whereas, like, I think that first, set, like, of characters was, like, so strong, you really wanted to see them either survive or not, but, like, they built it up so much that, I think
Well,
that's why people were so upset when some of those characters got killed, because it's like, oh, you lived with these characters, But, like,
right.
when they don't bother to kind of lay the groundwork later on, I think just kind of, yeah.
Well, and in the beginning, there was the uncertainty about what had happened. But remember, they were going to the CDC to go figure it out. There was a glimmer of hope. And then,
Yeah.
of course, when they found out that it didn't matter if you were bitten or not, like you have the virus already, and then the hope is gone. That's when The Walking Dead became, very bleak. But again,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of The Walking Dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you already
We're all
have
The
it.
Walking Dead.
There is nowhere that's safe. So again, you can't escape this terrible fate that's awaiting you.
By the
Um,
way, that's the way Young and the Dead ended too. It was like all the
yeah.
adults being told, "You're actually all young and you're all dead."
It's like, wait a minute, what? um, but yeah, like again, Walking Dead was just its own thing. Too much fluff.
Yeah, and I think each thing can serve its own purpose, but it is interesting that you can choose to. I think you got to make that conscious choice as a writer. Like I wrote one book that has like a severely unhappy ending,
Yeah.
and I had a reader like flip out on me because they really wanted like this love story to work out and it didn't, because it's a doomed romance, right?
Yeah.
It says that
I
in every
felt
picture.
good
Yeah.
that they didn't like it, because I'm like, yeah, I wrote it that way.
I mean,
It's
that's the
supposed to be
point, right?
disappointing. But it's like, but if you're going to take on that as a writer, I agree. Like that, you can do that in like a short book. I feel like if you led that on for like a whole series, like, if it was like Dune or something and there's no resolution at the end, like I think that would really irk people, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there needs to be some kind of resolution, and like that's what
Yeah.
us as writers kind of strive for. Like me
Yeah.
doing the 3 arcs, there is a resolution at the end of each arc,
Yeah.
but it still leads into the next one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if you stopped reading my series at the end of 12, there's technically a happy ending. Now, issue 13, I blow everything up again and off we go. But if you stopped at 12, you could get some closure, maybe.
So in your original idea of writing it as a movie, what is 12 compared to? Like, is that like the end of a particular movie? Like,
Yeah.
which movie would that have been?
The
Which
first one.
act?
So like
The
1
first
through
one. Okay.
12 is the first movie.
That's right. Okay, now I
where,
remember you saying that.
like
Okay,
if it was
got
a
it.
Netflix series, that would be the first
Right,
season.
got it. Yeah,
That's kind of how
okay.
I think about it as episodes, just coming from
Yeah. Of
production.
course.
So I had to break it up somehow. And I'm like, it made sense to break it up in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and then kind of. It's so hard to do that, where it's like okay, so the whole arc has a beginning, middle, and end, right? And then each act has a beginning, middle, and end. And then when I break it down into issues, each issue has a beginning, middle, and end. So it's like you're whittling it down, but it still needs to have all of the story elements that people enjoy in every issue.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that, people really enjoy about our story, is that there is always something that's happening, and you know where we're going in the next one, but you can't wait to see it, and then I leave you on a cliffhanger like, haha. And then you're mad at me and throw your book and call me names and then ask for the next one.
That's the
So-
best. I love that genre though, because you never know if it's gonna be a happy ending or not, because it is
Ooh.
possible to do a dystopian that is like The Road, or is like more kind of bleak toward the end. And so I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the fun of it too, is like you really never know if like this hero character will make it, and I think that's, if you, I think that's half the fun of reading those things, is you're kind of rooting for the person to survive, but who knows, like,
Yeah.
it's the Wild West. In some
Yeah.
cases, it's literally the Wild West, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty fun too. I think that's
So-
got to be kind of liberating as a writer too, because you can kind of craft certain characters that you intentionally have people get attached to, only to take them out. Yeah.
That's me. I do that. I wear a hat sometimes. It says I drink the tears of my readers. That's me. But I want to tell you guys a story because it's so funny. So Sarah White, who is here in the chat, is also a podcaster. And she has a show on Monday nights called Critical Affection. And the first time I was on her show, well, the way that her show works is that Sarah and the guest agree on a movie to watch. And then they kind of review the movie on the show, and then there's a quiz at the end, and everybody can play. It's on like your phone, where you can log into the same game, and everybody can play trivia together and win a prize. So super fun. And of course, I go on Sarah's show for the first time, and the movie that I picked for her to watch was Don't Look Up.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that is a prime example of
right. Yeah.
such a bleak movie. And you want it to work out and you want everybody to win, but so much stuff goes wrong, and at the end everybody dies.
Yeah.
That's that movie. And you're like, why are we here? There was 16 ways they could have fixed this, but they just didn't because they were greedy or stupid or you know. So
I think it's more of a cautionary tale, that movie. And pretty poignant if you ask me.
Yeah, gosh, there's so many things when you watch that you're like, oh my God, this is our world. To the point where Sarah's co-host Brian could not finish the movie. He was like, I can't watch it. It's too messed up. Like,
am I wrong? Is this the one with the kind of pseudo Elon Musk character in it and stuff?
I think he was Elon and Steve Jobs combination.
Yeah. Okay, so it is that movie. Okay, yeah, that is a great movie. The ending's fabulous.
Yeah, and I didn't spoil it. There is someone that makes it through, but I'm not going to say it.
So good.
It's hilarious. It's funny. It's depressing, and it's way too realistic. So that'll mess with your mind. But yeah, that's one thing where I think they had fun. Like, are we going to let him save the world? Nah.
What was the one? There was one that I just saw. Oh, Civil War. That one's not Captain America Civil War, but
no. What's the studio? I forget. But I know what you're talking about. Where it was like America was in Civil War, and you're following like a photojournalist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that one.
It's kind of like one of those movies we're talking about where it's pretty dark, you know. It's but it was good, but so we're talking about all these different movies with sort of dystopian themes. How do you avoid like cliches and things like that when you're writing something to make yours stand out? I mean, obviously we've talked about how yours is quite different, but how do you approach that? What are you thinking? What's your process when you're creating a story that, like, do you purposely like, oh, that's too cliche, I want to steer away from that, or no, it may be cliche, but that's probably how things would play out. So how do you kind of straddle that line?
Well, first of all, when I came up with my idea, I was just like, this is different and we're going to go with it. Right. But after that, it was like, how would people really act? And that became like the rule for writing this world, is how would people act? And so you're going to see all different takes. So I don't know if I'm cliche or not, to be honest with you, but I feel like I give a true telling of what I think the human race would do in this situation. And it's all over the map.
Right.
But I don't know. Would that be cliche? Do you think that's cliche, or do you think that's true to life, or where would that fall?
Not really, because I don't think your scenario is something that I don't think many people even think about happening. So, or hasn't been really approached in fiction, to my knowledge, something similar to what you're doing. So, thinking about how people would react to it, based on other things, similar things, maybe, history. But history, but it's a totally new scenario. So I think I think just by its kind of very nature, it would be different.
I try not to be cliche in some of the thank you, Paul. I don't think I'm ever cliche, but there is opportunity for me to be cliche if I went too much Western. You know what I mean? Like if I'm like,
Right.
hey, we're a what, but we walk this fine line between a lot of genres. So I think that's what keeps us fresh. So we don't lean one way into horror or Western or zombie to find those cliches. We're all of those things and none of those things. So I think that's kind of what keeps us fresh.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
also sounds like a fun genre in the sense that you can kind of play off of the cliches a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can even almost like defy expectations by setting something up that's cliche and then kind of flipping it on its head. Like,
Okay. There
yeah,
let's
think
say
that's
I
good.
did that. So so in issue 6, something that happened right before this issue, Jude is in this camp of undead banditos, and they're trying to convince him to break into the undead retirement community in exchange for safe passage to the Golden City, which is ultimately where he wants to go. Okay. And it's like, it's that Mission Impossible scene where they're like, we're going to break into the federal building and we're going to steal this. And they're like, we need these key cards, which we won't have. We're going to go, like we need to get into the secure room that no one can get into. And they came up with this cockamamie plan for him. And he's just like, yeah, all right. So it's going to be fun in issue 7 when you guys see what I do with that. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because it's like, what is she doing with this crazy plan? And it's like that can't work. And you're right.
I love it.
We're going to mess with that for sure. So subvert expectation. That's right. But I was like, that's about it. Like that's where the only thing I can think of where I really lean into any kind of cliche. What do you do, Scott? Do you lean into cliche? I mean, like, what do you feel about that?
In some ways I do, because my book is very much an homage to a lot of it.
Romero.
And I'm gonna say this because what's that?
Like Romero zombies, right?
Yes and no. I mean, mine are different than Romero, but I do have homages to Romero. There's a doctor in the book who's named Romero and looks just like So, awesome. But my book is very much, and again, I'll say, kind of like Stranger Things is, but keep in mind, I started creating Young and the Dead
before Stranger Things was a thing. We know,
but it's my love letter to Goonies, Monster Squad, E.T., Cloak and Dagger, Explorers, just all those movies of the 80s. So, I take a lot of those tropes and I do my own version of them because that's the kind of story it is. So, I guess you could say there's a lot of, you could say cliches or you could say homages or whatever, however you want to say. But, I definitely tap into all that stuff. And from my feedback from the people that read it, they pick that stuff out and they love it. And a lot of they'll see that stuff and they'll go, oh yeah. And just the same thing when I'm watching Stranger Things and I see, oh, that's totally this movie or that movie or whatever. So
it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a way that you connect with an audience,
Yeah. And I think it's striking that balance between stuff that may be cliche or you may have seen before, but changing it. I mean, even my character, even my characters are based on, a lot. Some of them are based on archetypes of like Goonies or Monster Squad, but then I flip it around a little, gender swap or like you just create just a character that you might think is like this particular character, but there's something different. But they aren't, but they end up not being that character. But I take it from so many different movies that when you mash it together, it's not like my characters aren't like the kids in exactly like the kids in Goonies or the kids in Monster Squad or the Explorers or any of that. Cause I'll take a character from like one of my characters is kind of this perverted kid that I kind of modeled after the little brother in Last Starfighter, if you've seen that. So I mean, sorry,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So
that is like a kind of 80s trope, the pervy little kid too. It's kind of funny.
So
Much more popular in the 80s.
Yeah. A lot of stuff you might not be able
Not
to
much
do
anymore
nowadays, but yeah.
And it's funny because that you said Stranger Things, because earlier when you were describing that one character that played D&D and like has an Aussie shirt,
Yeah.
was into Dio, and I was like, that's freaking Eddie from Stranger Things.
Yeah, which is
again,
like 10 years
I love that
before
character, though.
Eddie.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
funny? And then Eddie's the
Yeah.
thing. Okay, let me ask you that, Scott. Do you get frustrated sometimes when popular like pop culture stuff happens that you have already written, and then all of a sudden it's a thing because of something else, and you're like, damn it. And you're like, I
Yeah,
did
a
that
little bit.
first.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even
cool.
I mean, even going back to, I mean, this is to show you how long I've been working on, way too long on Young and the Dead, but at least now I can say, yeah, it's finished. So I did finish it, but it took me a long time because I wasn't like you where I'm constantly putting out issues, and I got a pretty decent schedule. I would take breaks and, work on other stuff, and I had a bunch of other stuff I was working on in the meantime. But going back to even before anyone else was doing those kind of homages to the Spielbergian type movies. The first one that ever did that was when J.J. Abrams did Super 8. And I created Young and the Dead before that even. So, and then there was even stuff in there like I think the name of the city that they lived in might even have been the same name. Like it was
That's weird.
Yeah, I think I called it like Montgomery County, and it was because I think that was the school that I went to when I lived in when I was that age. It was Montgomery School or something like that. So I called it that, and I think there was something in the name was the same. And there's certain things that pop up, and like people could think that for whatever reason I took it from there, or
so
characters' names. Sometimes there'll be a character that has a similar, like the same name, and like no, I named my character that first, or just little things.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's a little frustrating, but I understand that, when you're talking about nostalgia and stuff, it's all stuff that's in the zeitgeist. That's why two people that have never met or whatever could come up with similar ideas because they all grew up with the same stuff and inform their, what they, how they create stuff. So things can kind of overlap there. So I understand that. So it doesn't bother me that much, but and the good thing is because I've been putting out issues, there's a track record. So if I ever really had to hold my ground and I here's the proof right here. Go back to this video and you can see me creating that, which is well before, it was even probably, Stranger Things even was an idea, So
I feel worse for creators like, the guy who made The Thief and the Cobbler. And it's like just, Aladdin's just like a straight up direct rip of like all of his characters, including Jafar. It's like that to me is like that would be more infuriating than, like coincidences where it's a little close. The closest I've ever experienced was I did a t-shirt design a long time ago called Captain Obvious. And it was like Captain Obvious superhero, because the phrase Captain Obvious was being used a lot. Yeah. But he's saying all these obvious things. He's like, this is a t-shirt design, and this is a panel border, and like, that's a bird, and he's pointing at a bird. It's a plane, and he's pointing at a plane. And then it was like years later, there was like this whole Captain Obvious advertising campaign for like, if you guys have ever seen those. Yeah. And they did the exact bit. And I was like, you stole my bit. Like, as cheesy as that is, that kind of irked me. But again, it's like, it's not like Thief and the Cobbler kind of thing. It's like, well, that bit was kind of out there. I was like the first guy to like put it as a shirt, and then there's a million shirts since. But like, it would have been done by someone else if it had, you know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of like the nostalgia thing where it's like, it's kind of a pool we're all kind of floating in. So inevitably, I feel like if you worry about that stuff as a creator, you'll always like start and stop projects, I don't know, but it is kind of a bummer if it's like something fresh. The nice thing is comics take so long that by the time your comic comes out, it's like fresh again. I don't know. But I mean, Scott and I both know somebody who like stopped a project because like a project came out that was too similar, and it's like, well, but you could have just finished the like to me, it's just finish the project. It's like, I think
Yeah.
you'll add your own. It's like stopping playing
Right.
music because a band sounds like your band. Like whatever, like you play your music. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. Real quick, Matthew in the chat wants to know if you can do a self promo. Yeah, you guys. I've heard other people talk about their projects in the chat. I mean, links don't work, but yeah, just mention in the chat or whatever. That's we're okay with that. We're all about promoting work and stuff. So
True. Yeah. Just don't like spam promote.
Yeah,
But yes,
yeah.
you're good.
I mean, the fact that he asked is
Yeah.
I don't
That's a
think
good
we have
sign.
to explain
He's
that.
polite.
So
I know Matt. He's good people, so he'll put his
yeah,
where you can find him. But
We like good people, Matt. That's awesome.
yeah. For me, it's bears. When bears start showing up, and specifically zombie bears. Like, I think there was a bear cameo in Dead City with the one with Maggie and Negan. I don't know if it was dead or not, to be honest with you, because I don't watch that spinoff.
right.
But people put it into my, like, they're sending stuff to me like, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's a bear, it's a bear, it's a bear, it's a bear. I'm like, thank you. Like, a lot of times I think it actually can work to my advantage because it's new, and I'm just like, hey, Big James, doing bear things before it was cool,
Yeah.
We
That's
released
true. You're
our
like the
cover.
pixies of bears,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and a good friend of
right.
ours, Keith Foster, who we've had on the show pretty recently, and who we're going to be doing, he's hosting our retreat. He's got a book called Animals, and it's got basically a virus that approaches that affects animals, and pretty sure there's some bears in there as well too, as along with other animals. So yeah, I mean, it's just
Like, I know I can't copyright bears. Okay.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if it becomes popular and people want more bears, hey, guess what? I got more bears for them. The best thing that happened was we released, I know you guys have seen that yellow shirt of mine with like the red splash and the
Yeah.
Big James, the black Big James on top of that. We released that cover the same Friday that they released the trailer for Cocaine Bear. And everybody wanted that. So it's like, okay, well, so sometimes it can work to your advantage.
True, for sure. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's still a very popular cover and shirt. Like, as you can see, we got Big James everything. If you like bears or they terrify you, come to me. I will help.
And you're wearing it even though it terrifies you. So
he's fictional and scares the crap out of me because if I ever met a real bear, I better be wearing brown pants. We'll just put it that way. God.
So can we? I don't know if we ever asked you this, but can we go back to what was the impetus, the original like idea that sparked Path of the Pale Rider?
Well,
do you remember?
I don't think there was any one thing that really inspired it.
Yeah, because I've been asked that question too, and I kind of
how do you?
But, yeah.
But again, I love westerns.
Mm-hmm.
I love apocalypse genre, dystopian futures. I play Fallout, and I love horror. Specifically, the zombie genre fascinates me. I think it's really an interesting topic that when people are monsters, and it almost like takes the guilt away from killing people. I think that's part of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot we can explore within the zombie genre, but a lot of it's been done. And so I was striving to come up with something different within the confines of the zombie genre, and it just naturally happened. Okay. I mean, like, again, those are all the things that I love. Path of the Pale Rider is the series that I would love to read because it's all the things that I like.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, all right, what if it's not a virus? What if it's not, undead biting each other? What if it's just death is off the table? What happens?
Yeah. So that kind of answers my question, because I guess I should have phrased it differently, but I was more like, did like, was there an epiphany that came to you, like, or were you you working towards a story and then it kind of, the pieces fell into place? So that was kind of the same way with me in Young and the Dead, whereas I had to do what was supposed to be just short 8-page story, and I thought, oh, kids versus zombies, that's easy, I could do that in 8 pages. And then then I started writing it, and it's like, oh wow, no, this is actually this is
much
actually
bigger.
more than just a simple idea. There's a lot more to it, and then it
Exactly.
just blew out of control and became 6 issues. So yeah,
And when I started writing this, it's like I had never written a screenplay that large. I was
yeah,
writing short form web content, like web
yeah,
episodes. And again, I came from production, but I was doing stunts and I was choreographing fights with my martial arts background and the team that I had built. And so we were writing like, yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. I get it, Dylan. I hear that all the time with my series as well, where
yeah,
people are like, I don't really like zombies. I was like, but
yeah,
what if it's not? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then they
Yeah,
start
because they're
hearing about it
kind
and
of
then they're
not zombies. Yeah. I mean, they
yeah.
are, but they aren't, you know? Yeah.
Well, they're not trying to eat. It's like it's not a
Yeah.
horde of people trying to eat you.
Yeah.
It's people that you know and care about slowly going through like dementia. Well, I wouldn't even say slowly, like fastly going through dementia and the chaos that would happen from that. So
yeah. Because the normal thing is usually slow, but
it
you
is
kind of
slow,
sped
but
it
this
up.
is
Yeah,
like your
and
brain's
which is worse? I don't know.
whoosh.
You could
Yeah,
argue
and
which
it's
is
like,
worse.
oh man, I don't know. Cause I did this photo shoot at some point where I was like, the crazy person that always walks around with the sign that says the end is near.
Yeah.
And my sign said the end is never coming. And
Ah,
to
yeah.
me, that's worth
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. True.
because you can't even like escape this world.
Yeah.
You're stuck here.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Also, dementia terrifies me. All the things that scare the crap out of me, I put it in the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love the existential weight of a lot of that stuff, though, too,
Mhm.
because it's like you can range from, comical issues or moments to just completely terrifying or just really deep, like existential stuff, like
mhm.
all in the same kind of world. Seems like a
That's-
fun palette to play with.
Yeah. That's why, again, I love dystopian, but I love comics for that reason. It's like you can address the darkest fears inside your brain, and then you can write an episode about pigs. You know what I mean? Like you can write whatever you want. This medium is meant for everybody. It's meant for all ages. It's meant for all topics: comedy, horror, drama, spies, like law drama, supernatural. Everything works in comics, and that's why it's so great to be here. 100%. I'm sorry. Did I break the show?
No,
No.
sorry.
Everyone's
I was typing. I guess Matt. I because that question
Dylan?
we addressed to Matthew.
Matt.
I guess he stepped away, so he didn't say it.
Oh,
But instead, I'll
gotcha.
just, since we're on it right now, just said, yeah, that's again, Matthew. That's totally cool if you want to talk about your project. But if you put a link in the chat, it will not. I don't think it'll work. But feel free to mention in the chat. We're all about promoting each other's projects and stuff. So. I know, like Mydrin's been talking about his project and stuff too, so that's totally cool.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
make this show mostly for creators, too. So
Mhm.
it's,
And thanks for asking
Yeah.
too, by the way. That
Yeah,
was
that was very polite.
considerate.
Matthew. Thank you very much. I'm gonna end up making a ton of hot sauce this campaign.
Yeah. So let's while we're getting close to the end, and we talked about dystopian fiction.
Yeah.
Let's talk about hot sauce. So, how many different kinds of hot sauce do you have now? And give us kind of the range of hotness, because usually people. I mean, did you know you were going to do a whole range, and did you start with like a really hot one, and then we were like, okay, where do I go from here?
Oh gosh,
mean-
can I share a screen with you?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you share it? Are you asking? Or here? So
Yeah.
you're putting it up there. So okay, I will add that. Okay.
Here you go, friends. This is the hot sauce section of the campaign.
Cool.
We have grown to 5 flavors, and I make these all myself. So I have a home kitchen. I don't know why I did this to myself. It's great. But we started with the barbecue sauce. One of my good friends, his name is Chris Brown. He makes hot sauce, and he wanted to put Big James on the label, the bear. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely. Use my bear. I'm like, and maybe you could send me 2 bottles. I'm like, one for myself, one for my dad. And I think it's hilarious, right? So I take a picture and I pose with it and I put it on Facebook. And the fandom was like, ah ha ha ha. How do we get it? And I was like, it's not like you can't. And they're like, shut up and take my money. And I was like, okay. So I had a conversation with Chris and I was just like, what do we do here, man? Do I buy them from you? Like, it's your recipe. And he's like, you know your way around the kitchen. Here's the recipe. Here's where I get the bottles. Here's all the stuff. Here's what you do.
Oh, cool.
And he just handed it to me. And it took off from there. So like the first campaign, I offered the barbecue sauce and like 6 bottles of it went out. And then I think I did it on a second campaign. Do I have a ghost pepper? Yes, I do. The barbecue. Okay. So I'll start on the list. All right. So starting from the left in this picture, it is the mild jalapeno serrano. I love this one because it goes on literally everything. Mexican food, check. Do you want it on your breakfast eggs? Check. Can you put it in queso? Check. You know, like it literally, you could put it on just about, don't put it on your ice cream, but everything else, hey man, put it on there. And again, that one will range in spice. It's mostly mild, but it just depends on where we are in the season. During the summertime, the peppers are hotter. So you might get a little more bite. And if I make the batch in the summertime as opposed to wintertime, peppers have no bite, right? The next 2 are very similar, but not, the fruit is different. They're both habanero. So they go up a level in spice, right? The mango habanero is on the second, like that's the second gen. The green sauce and the mango were the second gen one. So those came next. And again, it's great for lighter proteins like shrimp. And you can put, a lot of people put it on breakfast eggs and like tacos. And it's a fruitier, sweet and hot. Medium to medium hot, depending on your tolerance, right? The Jack's Revenge is jackfruit and habanero.
Oh, interesting.
And I didn't think it was going to be that good. It is delicious, which is, if it wasn't, I wouldn't make it because jackfruits are a pain in the ass. A big jackfruit takes me 2 hours to take it apart.
I have friends that are vegan and they'll do like they'll barbecue like jackfruit as like, and it's good. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I could do this.
Well, they're using a lot of times the imitation like carnitas, and they'll put barbecue sauce in it. And that's the I don't know what they call it, the fibers. But I'm using the fruit pods to make the sauce, so it's not really fibrous like the other stuff. I don't know what to call it. It's not. It's not the fruit part that the carnitas is made out of. It's like fibers. This is the fruit pods. To me, jackfruit is it tastes like almost like bubble gum if it was a fruit. Mm-hmm. It's delicious. But this started because of a slice and dice. I got a jackfruit and we beat it up on the Tuesday morning brew. And I was like, there was enough left to make a batch of hot sauce. I had 6 bottles that were on the campaign, and we called it Jack's Revenge because the jackfruit was named Jack the Ripper. And so the jackfruit got revenge on the people that voted to murder it. So it's just really funny. But it's so good that we kept the recipe. So they're similar, but slightly different. Of course, the goat was the Path of the Pale Rider sauce, the Path of the Pale sauce, which is the ghost pepper barbecue. Yeah. This one has like a good delayed heat. It starts out, you can taste the sweetness to it. It has molasses and brown sugar, ketchup, mustard, smoke. Really delicious. And then the heat will get you on the back end. It's really good on like fried chicken and barbecue, pulled pork. It's delicious, and I highly recommend that one. And then, of course, there's always that person that's like, you got anything hotter?
Yeah.
So I finally broke down. I was like, if you want just straight up hot pepper juice, I got you. And so this last one is the newest one. This is the first time it's been on the campaign, and it's called Reaper's Regret. And it's Carolina Reaper and bell pepper. You only need a few drops of this bad boy, unless you're one of those heat heads, and then by all means, douse it until you can't taste your food and can't feel feelings. Why not? It's your world. We just live in it. So, but yeah, so you can get any combination of these. I have single bottles. I have our most popular is what I call the sampler box, and it's a box of 3. And then since I added the last one, I upped it to you can get a flight, so you can get 5 bottles on the campaign.
So when you say a flight, are they the same size bottles? Are they smaller bottles or?
They're all 5-ounce bottles.
Right.
That's
Okay.
all I'm allowed to send because of rules and regulations.
Yeah, and I was curious about that because I even get worried because I make these custom made wax packs and I put bubble gum in them, and I'm like, do I have to have any kind of license to do this? I don't know.
Well, it depends on how you're distributing them. So there's a loophole with Kickstarter because it's a pledge.
Right.
So you're pledging the campaign and I'm rewarding you. And so basically what you're doing is you're pledging the project and you're getting a free sample of hot sauce. And depending on where you pledge, you might get more free hot sauce is how it technically is, right?
Yeah.
It's not a sale. I can sell in person because of Texas cottage law.
Right.
So if you see me at a Comic-Con, a lot of times I will have the hot sauce on the table and you can pick up as many bottles as you like until I'm sold out. But you cannot purchase it from my website. And so a lot of people that have had the hot sauce and like the hot sauce are stocking up on the hot sauce right now.
Right.
Because we won't run another campaign until probably February.
Yeah.
So.
I think with me, I think I might be good because I don't make the bubble gum and I list all the ingredients. So that at least that's what I'm telling myself, whether that's true or not.
Well, do you sell it on your website? Do you take it with you?
I sell it on my website and I sell it on Etsy in the pack of cards. And if I ever run into trouble, I'll just get rid of the bubble gum. But it's kind of makes it authentic to have that bubble gum in it.
You're not making it and you're just repackaging it, you should be fine. Plus it's it's a super shelf stable item. It's not like you're not sending them a slab of meat in the mail.
And the whole idea is that the gum is supposed to get all nasty. So even if it's old, I tell people I'm just throwing it in there, whether you eat it or not. I mean, I wouldn't, it's for the novelty. But anyway.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
But
I want to say I love the little Bob's Big Boy Big James figure that you got there.
This is actually a spoiler. So because we're on my screen, you guys can see it. But there, as you can see, there is no
place to back
this. Did you watch the video?
I watched. Yeah, I watched the intro video. Yeah, I mean yeah.
This is what it is.
Oh, cool! That's great. Yeah.
So in the
exclusive for you.
I mean, it's hard when I share my screen. It's just there. So if you watch this video, you guys, there is a hidden QR code.
Okay.
But there's also a distraction QR code, just so you're aware. So if you scan the one and you're like, "Gosh dang it, Laurie, I can't believe that," you scan the distraction. The right QR code will take you to the link to that reward. And that's the only way you can get to it. And
I would still do it because all we saw was a tiny little. I couldn't even really make it out. I just saw what it said.
It's hard to see it on your phone, but if you do it on like a computer or a desktop, it's easier to see it. But it does work. There are 2 people that have backed that. I know, spoiler alert, but it was supposed to be like it's super cool that you found the link and you found the secret reward. But I have 2. Again, this is new to Kickstarter, right? Where it's like you can create a secret reward that you can only get to with the link. But I've been doing secret rewards since before it was cool.
Right. Yeah.
So there is actually a reward tier called Secret Reward, and you can back that not knowing what you're going to get.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good idea because it's almost like blind boxes are so big right now.
Yeah,
that's
what you're getting is a blind box. And so I've done things like I've 3D printed Big James's. I have built a working disc that you can wear, and it lights up and everything.
That's cool.
I've done shadow boxes. I've done these are laser engraved wooden keychains that are inlaid with sterling silver. I did a box of the inside held a bottle of ashes and bones. That was really cool. And so they're just
Yeah.
all over the map, and it's whatever my warped mind decides I'm gonna do.
That's cool.
So
And like I said, like I think I just backed kind of the regular campaign, and I, like you said, I must have answered a query or something, and I got all kinds of cool stuff.
yeah.
I mean, just imagine if you back one of these things. I think you're gonna, because I was really, when I opened the package, I was like, oh, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So
Yeah.
definitely that.
We break a lot of stretch goals, and then even with that, I'm usually adding stuff.
Yeah,
I can't
yeah,
help
yeah, yeah,
myself. I have too much fun.
yeah.
Um,
Those wood covers look cool too.
they are
Yeah.
so cool, and there is just no way to like get a picture across.
Is it actually a cover, or is it just the?
No, it's a cover like that.
So
those are the ones I
there's
just
a comic
printed for
attached
7.
to it.
But there's a comic attached to it. Look,
Oh wow. Okay.
it's like you would get a metal cover,
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
wood.
Right.
So, and I make these.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Is that so? We're getting close to our 90 minutes, but is there anything else about the campaign that you want to mention before we start wrapping things up?
We're about to break stretch goals, which is always fun. So if you guys are on the fence, I would say just go look around. You're already guaranteed a book. We're already funded. So come along. You belong, man. And then it's like we're unlocking poker cards. We're going to start unlocking these stretch goals. I have some really cool stuff in here. I have scratch and sniff stickers. Of course, we have the slice and dice. I've got edible stretch goals, candy, magnets, new art, coffee beans.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so impressed. Like I said, I don't think I would ever try to tackle any of this stuff because it sounds like a nightmare to me. But I love that you're doing it. Yeah,
it's a lot of work. I start working on this like 6 months. It basically, as soon as I'm done, the campaign is wrapped, I start working on the next one.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
I just want to say thank you. I would not be here without my art team and my editor, Gilbert Perez, who is very talented, and he's going to blow you guys away with issue 7. There's very little dialogue in this next issue. So when you are reading the story, you are reading what Gilbert is building in your head with emotion and reaction and action. It's we wouldn't be able to do it without someone as talented as Gilbert. So just so you're, you got to know what you're walking into. And then, of course, Matt Chambers, who is our colorist, who has been with us for a long time. Just such a talented team. They work so great together. I cannot wait to show you guys some of the stuff that they're going to be tackling. And thank you very much to my editor, Rachel Bullock, who keeps us polished and looking professional and keeping us on track a lot of times because we're like raccoons and we see shiny things and go off into the bushes. So we wouldn't be here without Rachel, who has been my editor since issue 1. So that's about it. Go check out the stuff. Spicy chocolate candy. I've had suggestions for that. I might look into it. There's a lot of opportunity there too. We got a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, just go click around. Oh, I wanted to show you guys interior pages. This is awesome. What we're getting into in issue 7. The Jude St. Clair injecting himself with a beta blocker to slow his heartbeat, appears to be undead so he can get into the undead retirement community.
Yeah, I thought that was like a spoiler. I'm like, oh, what's going on here?
I mean, yes and no. It's the first 4 pages, and we've been talking about Jude going in. And so he's going to get in, but you don't know what he's going to see when he gets in there. And look, he is strapping the antidote to his bicep. We'll see if that will work out well. Right? This page I love. It's just like he's in this back of the truck. He's chained in with these other people. And they're all looking at him like, what the hell? It's like, and there's a new dog. We have a new dog. So Sad Pancake, this is Waffles. Waffles is about to have a bad day. So
you don't treat your animals very kindly in this.
To be fair, I did not write Sad Pancake into the script. Gilbert drew him into a scene that had no business having a dog there, and then I made him shoot that dog.
I was talking about another animal further back, but I won't.
That one, well, that one is my fault. Yeah, I claim that one. That was it.
Yeah.
But Muffin, someone's like, we need a cat. We need a cat named Flapjack or something. I don't know. We'll round out the undead family, friend family, fuzzy friends. Yeah, that's it. And then someone else asked me to write a children's book. Big James teaches you the alphabet. So once we have a full undead cast, we will have them go on furry friend adventures.
All right. So, Laurie, tell everyone where they can find the Kickstarter, and just know that there is a link you can click on the description. But other than you probably don't want to talk about much other than the Kickstarter is the main thing. So
Yeah, well,
whatever
I
last
mean-
promotion you want to give for the Kickstarter, go ahead and let us know.
I just want to say that I do have a website. You can go there when I'm not running a campaign. I don't know why people would want to buy things from the website when the campaign is running, because not only are all the books there, but all the cool stuff is there that you can't get from my website, like the Funko Pops and the hot sauce and all the stretch goals. The stretch goals are so fun, and you get them for free just by participating in the Kickstarter. And you're not going to get the book any quicker if you go to my website. The people that back the Kickstarter are the first ones to get the books.
Right.
So unless you are interested in getting the back issue so you're caught up before the issue 7 releases, that's one thing you can do. But again, my website is just pathofthepalewriter.com. You can go poke around. I hate my website. It doesn't look bad. I just hate spending time there. So I spend much more time building the Kickstarter, which is cool.
Yeah,
so go there. And it's so easy. You just type in Path of the Pale Rider or look up Laurie Calacaterra. I pop right up. This is my 8th campaign for Path, because this is issue 7 and we had a trade. So if you want to poke around about me, you can see our history and everything there. 2 out of 3 creators trying the show recommend zombies. That is true. Jim, I feel like you were on my show earlier too. Were you there for the Brood this morning? That's the other place you can find me. Of course, I'm on all the socials. So Facebook, Instagram. I'm sometimes on Twitter. Mostly Facebook and Instagram, but I have a podcast called the Tuesday Morning Brew, where I interview.
I still have to schedule, and I have to still schedule that. I haven't done it yet, but I'll have to
You better grab a spot, dude.
I know you're booked way the heck out there. So
yeah, I'm booked into. I think I have 1 spot left in January, and then we're into February. Sarah booked in February of next year, so grab a spot. But we have a blast. We have a good time. We drink coffee. We goof around. We look at shiny things. So yeah, I feel like Jim was there. So this is actually my 4th podcast today, because I started with the brew, and then I've been going since then. So
wow,
I love
it for sure, Laurie. So yeah, everyone going back Path of the Pale Rider if you're new to it, especially. Oh, sorry.
Bless you. Watermelon, 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 watermelon.
I thought I was going to sneeze, but I guess not.
See,
okay.
It distracts you, and you're like, huh? And then you don't sneeze.
But yeah, definitely check out the Kickstarter. Follow Laurie on her website or social media, and check out her website. Josh, what about you? Let people know what you got, where they can find it, all that stuff.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Joshua Kemble, just because I'll probably be live streaming while working on comics sometimes during this week. I'm working on a book called Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and you can see it in creation right now. I'm actually, during this stream, I was working on page 157 of it, so hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we'll hit that deadline for Turner. And then, make sure you check out Jacob's Apartment, 2 stories. If you're a cool indie kid, you'd probably like those 2 books. And then also check out my solo music here, and No Saboteurs. The sun eventually sets on everything. If you like just rock and roll and punk rock, you might like those albums. So, yeah, that's basically it.
You guys need to come on my show. I would love to interview. Well, one, I love it anytime when a zombie creator comes on and we can nerd out about zombies. And Josh, I need more musicians, indie musicians, to come on and talk music.
That'd be fun.
Please.
Yeah,
so
for
please
sure.
come on.
You just got to find a date out next year sometime.
Yeah, date next year when you're on spring break and you don't have, or next summer when you're when you're out, not teaching.
Winter might be good. Yeah, maybe we can make it happen around winter.
Not this winter. I'm booked.
Oh, well, there you go.
Unless you want to show up in January or February. Do you consider those winter? Is it winter still?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to look. I think January might be still break. So yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think I'm booked the first 3 weeks of January.
Then never mind.
Yeah. So.
All right, what Josh said about his live stream, I just wanted to mention that if you haven't already, there's 2 episodes of Josh's live stream that I appeared on over the weekend, and I actually premiered my new
Sneak
project.
peek?
There's a sneak peek of the cover for my new comic book that I'm working on. So definitely go there and check that out. That's that, and then I will be having a lot more. There's cool stuff to come on my YouTube channel right here. I'll be doing a lot more comic book content, and I'm gonna also have a whole new channel dedicated to all the other stuff, the retro, reinventifications that I've been doing too. So I'll let you know more about that in the future. But you can. The best way to stay on top of that is, just check to my website. Like I said, there's always links there to everything else I'm doing, including on my online story, Get Young and the Dead, Kids vs. Zombie adventure story. That's up there. And, check out some of my videos. There's all kinds of cool stuff. So
I need that in my life. I don't know why I don't have it yet. Like that. I feel
Circworks.com. Circworks.com. So, yeah.
I'll get it tonight. Fix it.
All right, everyone. That's going to wrap it up for another episode. Thank you to everyone in the chat. One other thing I do want to mention is we have a newsletter, but it's not your typical newsletter. Basically, all it is it's a way for you to find this show. So because we do the show kind of an odd way where we bounce back and forth between Josh's YouTube channel and my own.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be a little hard to keep track of. We have different guests on, we have different topics. But if you want to know who the guest is, the topic, whose channel is going to be on, the best way to know that and be notified of that, because YouTube doesn't always notify people, is just join our mailing list. And usually at least 30 minutes or so before we go live, we'll send out that newsletter and you'll have the links. You can just click on that and you will never miss an episode. So go ahead and do that as well. Again, thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to Laurie, and we will see everyone next week on Josh's channel.
Bye.
Bye.